So the other day my son tells me he wants to write a survival manual. He wants to be like his dad, right? And he asked me, how do you write a survival manual? How do you write a book? And the first thing I explained to him is you actually have to know what you're writing about. And that reminded me of my own journey in the world of survival and preparedness, which has been going on for quite some time. This is actually the first survival manual I ever read. And this was published in 1990, about the time that I read it. This is also my first survival knife. I was a very little kid. Lucky enough, my parents gave me one of these. I think it was for Christmas. My first real knife. You know, yes, cheesy, cheap Chinese thing that of poor quality. Yeah, it did hold on quite well. I mean, I beat the crap out of this thing, use it a lot, built shelter with it with my older brother, had lots of fun, learned a lot along the way. My point is, it's been a journey. It's been almost 3 decades of learning, studying, practicing, skills learned and practice, and it's still going on. It's a process that will never end. That's where I'm coming from, so that's what I want you guys to understand with this little introduction. This is YouTube, lots of people with different opinions, and as we hear so often, this is just a personal opinion. Well, my personal opinion is based on 3 decades of experience in this field. If there's one thing I know, that's survival knives. I used many of them over the years, own more than I could possibly remember. I've forged my own knives. I know different steels. I understand different blade geometries, the intended use for each one, how it's done, the different heat treatments, when it's done correctly, when it's not. I understand knives. That's where I'm coming from. That's what I'd like you to keep in mind. So this is the Busse Soldier Dog 8. In terms of the review, this is a blade geometry that it's pretty traditional. It's very useful. Think of it as your typical K-bar fighting utility knife. It's a blade geometry, a blade design that has been proven time and again. This blade design simply works. In terms of the blade length, this is 7¼ inch blade length, about 0.21 inch thickness. We have a Respring C handle, which is very comfortable, and it's one of the things I like the most. I have actually a few of these. In the previous Dog Soldier, the 6, same thing. I love this grip, and maybe my favorite Busse knife would be the Basic 6, which has the same handle. I've learned to appreciate, and it's just very good. Simply works nicely. In terms of steel, the quality of the steel is about the best you could possibly have. Infi steel is legendary for its toughness. There's famous videos where they beat the crap out of these knives. Infi steel just is tough. There's really no way around that. It sharpens nicely, holds a good edge. It's not stainless steel, but it's very stain resistant. So, and if you think of the carbon content, you could somewhat it's not a stainless steel, but it kind of is. So all of those things are great. The company is very smart about the marketing, very nice people to deal with. Customer care, second to none. Amy from shipping just goes off their way to accommodate your different needs. Warranty, again, second to none. Anything you do to this knife, if you manage to break it, the company is going to be taking care of it. All right. So that's all a part of on the good side of this video. Now, to be completely honest, the thing is, as it came, and this is how I got my knife, right? And I know someone's going to be pissed with this video. Some folks are going to be happy, cheering along, especially people that never owned a Busse knife before. Some folks that collect Busses or a little bit of Busse fanboys themselves may be pissed by this video, but this is how I got this knife. Again, not my first Busse. I have several of them, I know. And I bought this directly from them, right? This isn't something that I bought from someone else. This is bought directly from Busse. So it arrives in a box, of course, a cardboard box with a lot of paper, and it's wrapped in this paper, and this is how you get it, right? And also in the box included is this that says Busse Knife Group Sharpening Sheath, which is cut, and I suppose it's the same knife that's being shipped that was used to cut. That I can pretty much suppose that to be correct. Cardboard box, you don't have a sheath, which is kind of one of the big points that I have against Busse knives in general. They don't usually, I think in one case they offer the option of buying a sheath along with it, which I thought that was great. It really simplified life for me. Guys, a knife and a sheath is a system, and they always should go together. A knife that ships without a sheath, even if it's the best knife on the planet, it's simply not useful. Even a cheap, crappy sheath like this one, I mean, how much cheaper can you get than this? And I used this, abused it, and in spite of being the crappiest sheath in the planet, it's still servicing the knife. You're able to carry the knife without cutting yourself, and you can actually use this knife. In this case, you can. It just ships without a sheath. It's a company policy. We make knives, we don't make sheaths. Go buy your own sheath. Yeah, okay, I can understand that. It's up to you to decide if it's worth it or not. The thing is, this is a $300 knife, all right, and it's in competition finish. With competition finish, it's basically a knife naked, the blade without any paint at all. It's not as if it's finely polished or anything like that. It is just without the paint that you would otherwise have, like in the Dog Soldier 6, which is this, right? So that's really all there is. This is, the painted finish, and this is the competition finish. Busse, again, I've been a part of the community for a few years. I know what's going on. I know that at some point they considered discontinuing what's called the competition finish because people were upset about all these markings, the tool marks and such. People were considering that not to be acceptable, and they were even considering discontinuing. The thing is that for this you pay another extra $40 for them not to paint the knife. So we're talking about $340 knife that ships without a sheath. For some people, that's kind of, come on, if I'm paying that kind of money, I want a sheath. For some, they are still okay with that. Now, the thing is, the way this knife is shipped, it was barely sharp at all. I mean, you kind of have to get it to. I mean, with a little bit of practice, I can replicate that sheet of paper, doing like so. And this is more about the skill of the guy using the poorly sharpened knife than it is anything regarding how sharp this knife is, because if you see, it actually does a poor job at cutting, because this knife is not properly sharpened. You're getting a dull knife. Again, I know knives. It's something that I simply do, and I can tell you the problem with this is that the sharpening job was mediocre. I don't know if you get to see this in the camera, but you see all those rather visible lines. I think you see it right there well enough. You see that? That's a poor sharpening job. That's all it is. It's a rather coarse belt they use to put somewhat of an edge here. I mean, it actually cuts paper because it's so coarse. You ran your finger along it and you feel it's almost like micro serrations to a point. That bad of a job has been done with this blade edge, with this sharpening job. Now I hear you screaming through the monitor right now, well, you should have contacted Busse about this. Well, no, the thing is this, I already bought the Dog Soldier 6, right? This is the 8, this is the 6 that I bought a few months ago. And you notice already the difference. This one was inspected by 10, knife sharpened by Dave. Here, I'm not even getting that. I mean, you don't even know. They're no longer using the sticker. At least in this one, they're not using the sticker of who sharpened your knife. But you know what? The sharpening job in the Busse 6 was just as bad as the one I got in the Busse in the Busse 8. The difference is I worked on it and reprofiled it a little bit, sharpened it myself, spent several hours doing the proper job, which was not delivered as it came out of the box from the company directly. This is how I got the 6 and how I have the 8, and I want to show you this to you guys. This is what I did myself. This one cuts well. This is a hair-popping sharp knife, as many 50 and 100 buck knives are. Alright? So that's why I'm not contacting the company. It's not a problem of the company. The problem is me, and I'm doing this video 2 days after receiving because I want to have some cool down time. I was kind of pissed. The honest truth is I felt like a sucker because I told myself, I'm buying a 340 buck knife that ships without a box, which I don't care for, that's okay. It ships without a sheath, which I kind of care for because I have to spend another 60, 70 bucks buying a sheath, wasting my time, wasting even more money. And even now, again, it's company policy, and Busse is fantastic at marketing. They do a great job because they are truly, honestly nice people that do a very good knife. Now, it has worked for them for many years. It will continue to do that. Now, the honest truth is I cannot recommend this to you folks anymore, which I have in the past. With this one, Dog Soldier 6, I told you guys to just go and buy it. And I still stand by that advice. I think if you did, you have a kick-ass knife, a fantastic knife, after buying a sheath, after sharpening it. Some people in the comment section already, when I did this video, were telling me, dude, a knife that is poorly sharpened and ships without a sheath and costs 250 bucks? Are you kidding me? Well, you know what? You're right. I mean, at this point, after spending 340 bucks in a knife that was shipped to me, you know, without a proper sharpening job, I can't do this myself. I can't do it. Now, not everyone can. That's the truth as well. Not everyone has the skill to do this without messing up the knife and actually reaching a good result. It's not easy. It's not just about touching it up a little bit. You have to reprofile quite a bit of it because this is what you get. All these scratches, all this stuff going on here, that's how I got it. And I spend a lot. Why is it I have to spend so much of my time, you know, basically finishing a poorly done job? And this is a knife. You know, if you're not shipping a sheath because you dedicate yourself to doing good knives, okay, at least the knife should be razor sharp. Like, I mean, I'm not inventing anything strange here. I mean, this isn't anything out of. I'm not asking for anything crazy. This is a BK7, and this thing is razor sharp out of the box, and it comes with a very good, decent sheath, by the way. And it costs less than about $100. Sure, it's not Infi steel, but it's 1095 Crowband, which is quite decent. I mean, honestly, you ask me, I'm going to be recommending this instead because I know this is something the average guy will have, and it's ready to use. He doesn't have to buy a sheath. He doesn't have to resharpen a poorly sharpened knife. So going back to this, no, I'm not contacting Busse because I have nothing to complain about. It's on me. It's on me feeling like a sucker for, you know, spending this kind of money and getting this in return. And again, it's not even a lemon. For example, if you buy yourself a Glock pistol, it's not working properly. Yes, I'm going to be telling you, contact the company because a Glock is supposed to work. Now, in this case, it's a second knife that has been shipped with the exact same sharpening job. Even now, it's not even being told who's worked on that knife anymore. So it's the second one, the 6, and now the 8, both of them shipped with this exact same edge. And obviously this is what I can expect from the company from now on. And just like I thought until now that it was worth recommending in spite of it, honestly, at this point, with this being the new standard, because it wasn't always this way. With my basic 6, this one came razor sharp out of the box. So did my other Busse knives. These are the last two ones that I got. and it was already a pretty fine line. At least for me, it was. The price point, not getting a sheath with your knife, and now the sharpening, that's a tad too much for me. So just like, and I don't like doing negative videos, right? But just like I did so many videos over the years and written articles recommending and even telling people it's up on sale right now, go and buy it yourself. Since I did that, I feel the responsibility that from now on I'm not going to be buying. I don't find myself buying Busse knives anymore with this at that price tag, with this kind of job done. In spite of the excellent steel and the grip that I like, I mean, bro, I have Fogneven F1. It's gonna be saving you $100. It's razor sharp, comes with a sheath, and it's a great knife as well. Yeah, maybe it's not an Infi steel, but it's still excellent, top quality steel that will do pretty much anything you need from it. So, all of these things you have to keep in mind. The competition finish, you see that the tooling marks all over it, right? And again, not being a jerk, just being completely honest. Muela from Spain comes with a sheath, of course, like any reasonable knife does. And check this out. Check out this finishing job. This is, it's not polished, but it's a satin finish, which for Busse to have offered this kind of finish, it would cost me maybe another $50-$60 or so. It's not something that you can just. So it all adds up to something that where you find yourself paying. Check out this knife, by the way, and you can bet this is as sharp as it looks. So it basically comes down to that you're spending a kind of money that is. I have to be honest with you folks. I know my viewers, my readers. I know that for many of you guys, spending $50, $100, it's not something that comes across easy. It's hard-earned money, and I have to keep that in mind. Now, if someone makes the effort if one of you folks makes the effort of spending that kind of money, following my advice, and you get this in return, I don't feel comfortable with that anymore. So, since I made that decision myself, I feel that I have to come across and be as I always am, always, and that's never going to be changing, 100% completely honest. I got my Soldier Dog 6. I had to make my own sheath because it does not come with a sheath, and I didn't want to be spending $70 with a custom sheath. So I had to do that myself. It takes time, money, So at this point, wrapping up the review, is it a good knife? Yeah, Dog Soldier 8 is a fantastic knife, and I was really looking forward to it. But with this blade geometry, that grip, that steel, after me getting a sheath, after me sharpening, as it should have been done, yeah. A fantastic knife. Do I recommend it? Do I think it's worth any of them? The Busse, scrapyard knife, swamp rat, whatever you want to call it. I honestly don't think it is anymore. That's simply my opinion. Yours may be totally different. If you feel like that, just let me know in the comment sections what you think. And that's going to be all. Remember to subscribe. Take care. Have a great day. See you on our next video.